What's up, YouTube? I hope each and every one of you guys are healthy and enjoying your lives to the fullest today. In today's video, I'm going to be reviewing the 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Sport. Huge thank you to Tyler Wright over at Stohlman Subaru of Sterling, Virginia for allowing me to do this review for you guys today. If you guys are interested in this particular Crosstrek or any Subaru product, I'll be sure to have Tyler's information on screen as well as in the description box down below. But with that said, let's get into the video. All right, just like I always do, first let's talk about the exterior and the performance. So like I said, this is a 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Sport, and this particular one has been painted in crystal black silica. So for 2024, the Crosstrek as a whole did get redesigned inside and out while retaining a sense of familiarity. Now, I personally really like the redesign for the 2024 model year. I think it gives it a lot more of an aggressive look here at the front, and I just like the body lines on this just a tad bit better. Another thing I wanted to mention is that for the 2024 model year, for the Crosstrek as well as the Impreza, there is no more manual option. The CVT is the only transmission that you can get. But working our way into the headlights. With the Sport, you guys get LED steering responsive headlights with high beam assist, as well as LED daytime running lights, LED turn signals, and LED fog lights towards the bottom of your front bumper. Now working our way into the center of the front end. With the Sport, you get a satin black grille with two gloss black grille bars on both sides of your Subaru logo. Obviously, your Subaru logo is located at the center of your front grille. And then you also may be able to notice that you also get some satin black cladding at the bottom of your front bumper that flares in just above your fog lights. Now, that is very similar to what you would find on the Outback, but with the Sport, you may be able to see that you also get that yellowish green accent color trim. It's kind of like that L shape, and that is Sport specific. But yeah, you guys may be able to tell it's very similar design language to what you would find on the new Outbacks. Now, if you guys were wondering about the ground clearance of the Sport, you get 8.7 inches of ground clearance. Now, like I just mentioned, you get that satin black cladding at the front end, which flows nicely into your satin black wheel arch moldings with venting, and this venting is very similar to what you would find on the 2023 and up Subaru WRXs. Now, with the Sport, you also do get active torque vectoring, and then these are the Sport specific wheels, and they are an 18-inch dark gray wheel wrapped in 225/55 Falcon ZX ZE001A all-season tire. I'll give you guys a view of the tread pattern on that tire real quick as best that I can. I'm sorry, it's not the best view, but it is what it is. Now, also with the Sport as standard, you get a windshield wiper deicer, and essentially what that is are kind of like heated windshield wipers. So basically, I'm not sure how well the GoPro is going to pick it up, but from like right here, this like little strip that goes to about there, and then also to your wiper on that side, you basically get heated windshield wiper park spot. So basically that park, the spot where the windshield wipers park is heated, which is very nice if you live in a colder climate area. But working our way into these side view mirrors, as standard with the Sport, you guys get gloss black mirror caps with integrated turn signals, and they are also heated and power adjustable as standard. Now, this particular one has been optioned with the $1,920 option package 22, which gives you the blind spot monitoring. You can see that little nipple right there. That is where it lights up and lets you know if somebody is in your blind spot. And then you have the same one about like right there on your passenger side view mirror. This one also does have the optional $684 Crosstrek mirror package, which gives you the auto dimming exterior mirrors with the approach light. So basically, if somebody is behind you at night and they're shining their high beams, these side view mirrors will both auto dim, which is a very nice feature. Now here, let's do a little side profile action of the 2024 Crosstrek Sport. It looks relatively similar to the 2023. However, again, I really like the updates in the sleeker body lines for the 2024 model year. That's personal preference, but it's just, you know, the way I feel. But working our way to the top, you guys do get these black raised roof rails as well as black window trim. You also do get body color door handles with keyless access. Just keep in mind that the keyless access functions are only on your front two doors. Now also you do get these sport badges on your front two doors as well, so the rear doors you may be able to see do not get them, and these are obviously also sport specific. They are chrome. You get that yellow lettering, and then you get another little black accent piece on the lower right hand side of that emblem. Working our way down just a little bit more, you also do get the satin black cladding with that yellow accenting, and that is also sport specific. There's a little closer look of that right there. And then also, just like the front wheels and tires, above the front wheels and tires, you also get that satin black wheel arch moldings here above the back wheels and tires. You get a satin black shark fin antenna up top here, and then I know this particular one has been painted in crystal black silica, but you also on all sports get this gloss black roof spoiler. So no matter if this was, you know, blue, white, black, it doesn't matter, this roof spoiler will be gloss black. Now working our way to the back, you also do get a rear window defogger as well as a single speed rear wiper. You also get black taillight bezels as well, and I believe these are incandescent taillights. I know they are not LED. You get your Subaru emblem at the center of your liftgate, and then beneath that is where you'll find your backup camera. Now just below your Subaru emblem, if you have your key fob in your pocket, you can open the trunk, but you do have a little pad underneath here. If you have your key fob in your pocket and you press on that little pad, then the liftgate will begin to open up. This is not a power liftgate, this is a manual liftgate, so just keep that in mind. But working our way into the trunk space, there are a couple options back here. So this does have the $141 all-weather mats, which essentially are basically just like rubber floor mats. And then as standard with the Sport, you get sport specific carpet mats, as you can see, say Sport, and then again more of that yellow lettering with that yellow accent stitching on the outsides of the floor mats. Then also you get this all-weather liner back here for your trunk area. One thing that's pretty cool about the 2024 Crosstreks is that you get these grocery bag holders. So you get one there, you get one there, and then you also get one down there as well. You also get a little light back here as well. Little storage cubby. You can see you can set a little, you know, cup or something down in there. Same thing goes for this side as well. This is your cargo area protector. So basically you can pull that out and that's going to cover the area. So basically thieves can't see the contents that you have in your trunk if that was retracted. And then underneath here is where you will find your spare tire. Now bear with me. So that's your spare tire, your jack, and your tow hook as well if you end up, you know, getting this thing stuck somehow. But yeah, I would say you could probably fit maybe 5 or 6 carry-on suitcases here if you stacked, like, or if you know, lined up 3 across and then you stacked on top. I'd say you could probably fit 5 or 6 carry-on suitcases back here. But closing that hatch, there is another option back here, and this does have the $164 rear bumper cover, which is basically what this piece is here. You can see you get that little mountain design. I know with the rain it's not really going to pick up the design on here all that well, but then you get some trees and stuff, and then you get some waves over here. So this is a $164 option. It's basically so you scratch up this piece rather than scratching up your black paint or your blue paint or your white paint. It's basically exactly what it is, a rear bumper protector. Then you get your chrome badging, and then your sport badging is on the lower right hand side of your hatch. Now also, as I just rubbed my head into that, I was like, what the heck did I just walk into? But working our way over to here, you guys get a satin black rear valance with that yellow accenting. So you may be able to see the yellow accenting follows through from the front to the back into the interior, which we'll get into here in a second. But anyways, you get a satin black rear valance with that yellow accenting. You also get 2 reflectors, both there and there. You get a relatively aggressive rear diffuser, and then you get a 370 rear axle ratio. And I believe I know this is new for the 2024 Impreza, but this is basically the same chassis as what you'd find on the Impreza. So basically for 2024, you now get a 16.6 gallon fuel capacity, which is up about 3 gallons from the 2023 model year. And then if you guys were wondering about the max tow capacity of this particular Crosstrek, it is 1,500 pounds. Last but not least, there is one more thing. 87 octane will do just fine. Now, let me know what you guys think of the 2024 Crosstrek Sport in the comments down below. Do you guys like the 2024 redesign, or do you prefer the 2023? I've already stated my opinion. I think the 2024 looks a lot better, but again, that is a subjective opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. But with that out of the way, let's move into performance. Popping open that hood reveals that 2.5 liter boxer 4-cylinder, which is specific to the sport and limited trim levels. That motor makes 182 horsepower and 178 pound-feet of torque. It is mated to a Lineartronic continuously variable transmission for a 0 to 60 time in 7.8 seconds. If you guys were wondering about fuel economy, you can achieve 26 miles per gallon in the city, 33 miles per gallon on the highway for 29 miles per gallon combined with standard all-wheel drive. Now, I wanted to mention is that if you guys got the premium and or the base, you get the 2-liter 4-cylinder, and the Sport only gets 1 mile per gallon worse in the city and 1 mile per gallon worse on the highway. So you get a bigger motor, more horsepower, and you're only sacrificing 1 mile per gallon in the city and on the highway. But if you guys are enjoying the video so far today, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. I'm now on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot get there without your guys' help. So if you guys have taken anything from this video, please give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. But let's move into the interior. Moving on into the interior, like I mentioned earlier on in the video, you do get keyless access. So all you got to do is have your key fob in your pocket, walk up to the vehicle, put your hand behind the door handle, and the vehicle will unlock. You can also lock the vehicle by running your finger across these 2 hash marks right there, and now the vehicle is locked. But I did want to walk you guys through a couple of the functions on the key fob. Starting from the top, you have your lock function. Your Subaru logo is your unlock function, and then that button right there is kind of useless in my personal opinion, but basically it just pop opens the hatch, and then you just have to go to the back and then lift it up. So this doesn't have a power lift gate, so that button is, in my opinion, kind of useless, but you still have that button. And all the way at the bottom, you have your panic function. But I want to show you guys what the interior looks like, obviously. So starting over here with the driver's side door panel, with the Sport, you guys get sport cloth upholstery with yellow accenting, which you may be able to see. You get some yellow accent colored stitching. All of this right here is all like a gray cloth type material. You get some faux carbon fiber trim. You get a black door handle. Here are your power side view mirror controls, unlock and your lock functions, automatic up and down windows in the front, but you do not get automatic up or down windows in the back. And then pressing on this button right here will restrict your passenger window privileges. One thing that I really like about Subaru is that they're always thinking of great places to fit your phone. So not only can you grab onto here and close the door, but this is an iPhone 14 Pro Max, one of the bigger phones on the market, and it fits in that perfectly. Very great spot to set your phone if you wanted to. And then you also get a very nicely padded armrest with some more of that yellow accent colored stitching. I noticed these armrests were very, very nicely padded as compared to the 2023 model year. And then you get a great spot. You could set a Deer Park water bottle, and then you get a little bit of miscellaneous storage space. I'll put my phone in there for size reference. Not all that much storage space, but you guys kind of get the gist of what I'm talking about. So earlier on in the video, I did mention that this has the $1,920 option package 22. And basically what that gives you, at least right here for the driver's seat, is a 10-way power driver's seat with 2-way lumbar, as well as a couple other things I'll mention as we get into the video. But again, Sport comes with that sport cloth upholstery with those yellow accents. So you get the basically gray cloth with that yellow accenting on the outsides of the seat. So it's basically like yellow accent trimmed, if that makes sense. Now, one thing I really don't like about the new Crosstreks and the new Imprezas is that you no longer have an adjustable headrest. So on the 2023 model year, you can move the headrest forwards and backwards, whereas on this, they are fixed, which in my opinion is unfortunate, because I thought that was a really nice feature of the 2023 Crosstreks and Imprezas. Now, also sport specific are these sport pedals. They are an aluminum sport pedal with some rubber gripping. You guys can take a closer look at that. But like I said, keyless access, that also means you get push button start. Just make sure you have your key fob in the interior, push your foot down on the brake, and then push to start. And that is what it sounds like when it fires up. So we're gonna start over here, then we'll work our way into everything else. So starting over here, this scroll knob is to brighten and or dim your gauge cluster, as well as your backlit buttons. You get a manual tilting and telescoping steering wheel. And what I mean by that is that the steering wheel will come towards you, it'll go away from you, and then it also moves up and down to your liking. But let's take a listen to our turn signal. that is what the turn signal sounds like. And then that, not only is this your turn signal control stock, this is also your headlight control stock, your high beam control stock, and your fog light control stock. So over here, headlights off, headlights automatic, daytime running lights on, and then all the way up is headlights in the always on position. And then this is fog lights off, fog lights on. Just keep in mind that, like right now, we got a little bit of daylight out. So when I turn my headlights in the automatic position, the headlights are not actually on, but you may be able to see that the fog lights are in the always on position. But on your gauge cluster, the fog lights are not actually on. So in order to override this, you have to turn your headlights in the full on position, and now your fog lights are on. So now we go into automatic, the fog lights turn off. So just keep that in mind. If you're like, I have my fog lights on, but they're not actually on, is something broken? No, it's just the way that this is programmed. But also with the Sport, you get a leather wrapped steering wheel as standard with some more of that yellow accent colored stitching on the inside of it. Also with the Sport, I know I keep saying also, but you get these steering wheel mounted paddle shifters. So I know you get a Lineartronic CVT, but you also get an 8-speed manual shift mode with that Lineartronic CVT, hence the steering wheel mounted paddle shifter. So that's a downshift paddle. This is your upshift paddle. We'll get into that on the driving portion of the review, but I wanted to show you guys what the horn sounds like. That is what the horn sounds like on the 2024 Crosstrek. So over here, that's to go back on a track, that's to go forward on a track, that is to switch between your different audio sources like AM, FM, XM, Bluetooth audio, auxiliary jack, so on and so forth. And then these arrows right here are to control your productivity screen located at the center of your dash. We'll get into that in a second, but that is to pick up on a phone call, that is to mute the audio system as well as hang up on a phone call, that is to speak to the vehicle, and then that is to volume down, and then that is to volume up. As standard with the Sport, you guys get adaptive cruise control as well as lane centering and a couple other things. So here are your adaptive cruise control settings, and then beneath that with the Sport, you guys get SI drive. SI drive is basically Sport and Intelligent. So you have your different drive modes there. Again, S is for Sport, I is for Intelligent. And with that stuff out of the way, let's move into our gauge cluster. So with the Sport, you get these like you can see that outline around your speedometer and your RPM gauge. It's basically some more of that yellow coloring, yellow accenting, I guess you could say. So that is kind of like a Sport specific gauge cluster with those yellow accents. So RPM gauge, you got your speedometer, that's your coolant temperature gauge and your fuel gauge. You may be able to see that the fuel pump is pointing to the right hand side of the vehicle. That means you have to fill the vehicle up with gas on the right hand side. Thought I'd point that out if you didn't know that. Up top here, you have your instant fuel economy stuff. Basically, we're getting bad fuel economy because we're not going anywhere and we're still burning gas, if that makes sense, because I have the vehicle on. But anyways, that is your fuel range. You can see right now I have my foot on the brake pedal. I'm gonna let off, and then those brake lights go off. Basically, that's some driver assistance stuff, but I think it's kind of cool that when I push my foot on the brake, it lights up actually on the screen. Then that's your digital speedometer readout. That lets us know that we're in park. That lets us know that we're in intelligent mode. That's the odometer, and then that is your trip A information. If you guys want to reset the trip A information, come over to this trip reset button right there, and then where it says 59.0 will reset back down to 0 if you press and hold on that. Now, let's go throughout that screen. Again, these controls are to control that screen. So all I'm going to do is click down like that, and then that brings us into this screen right up top there. Go down one more. That brings us into this. This is actually a pretty cool feature. So when the auto stop start system turns the vehicle off, it counts how long the vehicle has been off for and how much fuel it has saved with the auto stop start system on that particular trip. Coming down a little bit more, you got your tire pressure stuff, then you have your audio stuff. That's the time and the temperature, and then that brings us back into this screen here. That's kind of about it for what you can do on that screen. Very easy to use, and I personally like using that screen, and this is probably the screen that I would leave my Crosstrek on. But up top here, you get a bunch of vinyl wrapping. But new for the 2024 model year to the Crosstrek Sport is this 11.6-inch infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto connectivity. So we'll start with the buttons and then we'll work our way into the screen. So up top here, that's your hazard button, obviously. That is your volume knob. If you press and hold on that, that will turn the screen off. I can press and hold on that, and that's going to cancel that function. And that is also, again, your volume knob. If you just press on like that, that will mute the audio system and then unmute it. That is your front defroster. You guys get dual zone climate control as standard with the Crosstrek, and those are your dual zone climate controls for the driver and the front passenger. That is to turn your rear window defroster on, and then this is your tuning knob. If you press and hold on the tuning knob, that will bring you into your tune settings. Bear with me here for a second as it comes up. So you can adjust the bass, the mid-range, and the treble, as well as the balance and the fader. Then you also have vocal image control. X back out of that. Now let's go throughout this screen. So that's your ambient exterior temperature, that's the time, and then that is how much signal my phone has at the current moment, as well as how much battery my phone has. As standard with the Sport, you guys get dual X modes. So you have your snow/dirt, and then you have your deep snow/mud, and then you have your normal mode. These are configurable, so you can go into the weather, you can go into your different temperatures and stuff like that, and then all the way over is basically like your Bluetooth audio stuff. Coming down, this is what your home screen looks like. So you got your radio, your media, your phone, your apps, your settings, Subaru Starlink stuff, my Subaru car info. We can go into that if you guys were interested. That's basically what that looks like. And then you can go into your maintenance stuff, which I think is also pretty cool. Go back out, you can turn the display off there. Then get your valet mode, auto vehicle hold. Basically, if you turn auto vehicle hold on, if you guys are stuck in traffic, you're tired of holding your foot down on your brake by yourself, if you turn that on, the vehicle will hold you in place by itself with its braking system. It is a pretty cool system. Vehicle dynamics control is basically like your traction control on or off. And then that is your home button. This will bring you into vehicle stuff. This is one vehicle screen. You can go into your driver assistance screen, or you can go into more settings. It's kind of about it for that. And then that is your instant auto stop start on or off button throughout the screen. That will bring you into your paired phones. So basically my phone is the only one connected at the moment. And then this is your different driver profiles. Right now we're in default, and I'm not gonna mess with that because this isn't my vehicle after all. But then this little screen all the way at the bottom, it is a part of the same screen, but this is your instant climate control stuff. So that is what that looks like when the climate control is on. But if you want the climate control to take up the entire screen, you can click right there, and now this is what your climate control screen looks like. One thing that I think about that I think is pretty cool about the Subaru products is that you can see these two different buttons here. So basically you can either have your 50-50 split between your head and your feet, or you can do like 75% of air blown on your head and then like 25% blown on your feet. I think that is pretty cool to have those two different options. You don't really see that on any other vehicles. But coming down a little bit more, you have an auxiliary jack, a USB-C port, and a USB-A port. And then as standard with the Crosstrek Sport, you get a wireless charging pad. Again, I have an iPhone 14 Pro Max and it fits down here, no problem. Again, this is a bigger phone on the market, and then that also fits down there. This is what your gear shift selector looks like with the Sport. So you get some like faux carbon fiber, like shift boot type of material, yellow accent stitching. If you guys wanted to go into manual mode, go down into drive, flip that over to the left, and now you can control the transmission with the steering wheel mounted paddle shifters to your liking. As standard again with the Sport, you guys get heated front seats with 2 levels of adjustability, both high and low. Very nice. This is your electronic parking brake pull up. When it illuminates in red, that lets you know that the parking brake is engaged. If you want to disengage the parking brake, you have to push your foot on the brake and then push back down on that, and then the parking brake will disengage. You get 2 cup holders right here, and then you have a 12-volt power outlet. You get a nicely padded armrest with some accent colored stitching. Opening up the armrest, you get quite a bit of storage space down in there. I would say about 55 to 60% of my forearm fits down in there. So basically you can fit what you need to in there. Just keep in mind, it's really not all that much storage space, but for the size of this vehicle, it's quite a bit of storage space. Then you got another spot you could set a phone, business cards, Purell hand sanitizer, something like that. Miscellaneous storage right there. But working our way over to here, you get some more of that faux carbon fiber trim that leads into your passenger side door panel. Opening up your glove box, it is not a lockable glove box, but you have quite a bit of storage space in the glove box, again, considering the size of this vehicle. You get a manual front passenger seat, so the driver's seat is the only power seat here in the front, well, actually in the vehicle. But working our way up top here, like I mentioned to you guys earlier on in the video, this does have the optional $684 Crosstrek mirror package, which gives you the mirror compass with HomeLink. Essentially, this is an auto dimming rear view mirror. You have your compass, and then your HomeLink is your universal garage door opener. So let's say you own a house with 3 different individual garage bays. You can open up those 3 different garage bays individually with these 3 different buttons. And then you can also turn the auto dimming rear view mirror on or off by the push of that button there. Working our way up top here, this lets you know if your passenger airbag is on or off. This is your Subaru Starling stuff, so basically like roadside assistance. Think of this as Subaru's version of OnStar that GM has. And then over here, basically if you guys don't want the lights to turn on when you open up the doors, you flip that over to the right. Now when I open up the door, the interior lights do not turn on. However, if I flip that over to the left, now when I open up the door, the interior lights do turn on, which kind of leads me into my next point. This one has also been optioned with the $150 interior LED light upgrade. So instead of these lights being halogen, they are LED, which is very nice. And then also, with the optional $1,920 option package 22 that this vehicle has been optioned with, you get a power sunroof. So this is what your sunroof looks like. Boom and boom. It also tilts and it slides. So it goes back and then it also tilts up. I'm not going to open it up because it is a little bit drizzly out, but this is what your visor looks like. You got a spot you could set your registration or, you know, any relatively small sized paper product. Opening this up, you get a vanity mirror with a vanity light that is also LED. And then the visor itself does not slide forwards and backwards, but you get a little slide out at the end of it. So basically when the sun's in those awkward positions, you can slide that out. Personally for me, I like when the visor slides out because you can see how much wider the whole visor is rather than this slide out, but I'm happy I get the slide out rather than nothing. But OPU panel over here on the driver's side. You also get an OPU panel on the passenger side as well. That's kind of about it for what we got going on here in the front seats, but I did want to go over a couple standard features. These are just a couple highlights that I thought I might highlight if you guys were interested. So basically, you guys get an 11.6-inch infotainment system with wireless Apple CarPlay and wireless Android Auto as standard. You also get the wireless charging pad, heated front seats, and adaptive cruise control as standard. I already said this, but I'm going to reiterate it again. There's no more manual option for the Crosstrek for the 2024 model year. The CVT is the only transmission that you can get now with the 2024 Crosstrek. Now, I am going to throw up the entire window sticker on screen so you guys can take a look at the optional stuff. You can take a look at the standard stuff, but basically I'm just going to highlight the MSRP. So the MSRP of the way that this particular 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Sport is spec'd is $33,349, which in my personal opinion, I think this is a pretty dang nice vehicle considering that price. And you know, nowadays you can't really find vehicles at that price point. I mean, you can, but there are less and less as, you know, time goes on because of inflation or whatever it may be. But I do want to show you guys what we got going on in these rear seats before we moved into the driving portion of the review. So popping open up this door, this is what the interior door looks like back here. So vinyl wrapping up top here. This whole like spot right here is all some satin black plastic. Then you also get a nicely padded armrest back here with some more of that accent colored stitching. You get a black door handle. You do not get automatic up or down windows in the back like I mentioned, but you can see the window goes all the way down. Sliding that back up, you also get some miscellaneous storage space down at the bottom of the door panel back here. This is what your rear seats look like. Basically a mimic of what you would find in the front with that yellow accenting and the gray cloth seats. You also get a center fold down armrest with 2 cup holders and a nicely padded armrest. Moving into the seats, I am adjusted behind myself. I actually have this seat further reclined than I normally would. You may be able to see I still have a ton of leg room. I still have a ton of knee room. Here's another view of the leg room and the knee room that I have. You can see quite a bit, and it's honestly surprising for the size of this vehicle how much space there is in these second row seats. You also get a USB-C port and a USB-A port. You get a seat back pocket behind the passenger seat, but you do not get a seat back pocket behind the driver's seat. You get an OPU panel as well as a spot you could set your dry cleaning. This is what your lights look like back here. Again, this is an LED dome light, and then you get the same OPU panel and the dry cleaning thing over there on the passenger side as well. You may be able to see I'm 5'9". I still have quite a bit of headroom left over. I would say probably 5 or 6 inches of headroom left over. But these seats back here in the second row are also very, very comfortable. They're nicely padded, and I feel like I could do a relatively long road trip back here in these second row seats. Now, let's see if I can recline them any more than they already are. I don't think I can. I think this is as far back as they go, but that's totally fine because they are pretty comfortable in the position that they are in at the moment. But, you know, we've talked about the exterior, we've talked about the performance, and now we've talked about what's going on here in the interior of the Sport. So I want to see what this thing's like to drive, as I'm assuming you guys do as well. So I will see you guys in the driver's seat. All right, guys, and now on to the driving portion of the review, where I always start my videos here. We go over these speed bumps at 5 miles an hour, and then we rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. Nothing will ever be a 10 because perfection doesn't exist in this world, but it did very well over that first speed bump. Now let's see how it does over the second one here, again at 5 miles an hour. I'm gonna have to give this thing an 8.4 on a scale of 1 to 10. It did very well over those speed bumps. It just rode very nicely over the speed bumps. It wasn't too firm, it wasn't too loose, so it had a great score. Now let's see what the body roll test is like. So there is a little bit of body roll. One thing I did notice is that they don't put a sport tuned suspension on the Crosstrek Sport, which is kind of interesting to me. You think that they would, but they don't. Now let's see how this compares power wise to the Premium I did a video with. I can't quite remember how the Premium was to drive. I hear that Mustang, it's pretty loud. So basically I have it in sport mode. I'm not going to mess with the paddle shifters right now, but we'll do a little acceleration here. It definitely feels, I think, more powerful than the Crosstrek Premium, for sure. You can definitely tell that there's more power here with the Sport as compared to the Crosstrek Sport. They both have the same axle ratio, so there's not really any advantage there, but there is definitely an advantage to having the bigger motor and a little bit more horsepower and torque as compared to the Premium. Now, if you guys are looking at the Crosstrek and you're like, do I want the Premium or do I want the Sport? Now, obviously that comes down to, you know, what you really want and what you're looking for in a vehicle. Let's hear what this Mustang sounds like, because it sounded pretty good. But I would say that, you know, it depends what you're looking for, because, you know, the Sport definitely feels a little bit more powerful. I think the Sport looks better. I know, you know, some people are going to be some people are not going to like the yellow accenting. Some people are going to like the yellow accenting. Again, that comes down to personal opinion and what you like and what colors you like and, you know, what works best. But I think the black with those yellow orange accents look pretty dang good. Again, that's my personal opinion. But that's just, you know, the way that I feel. I think the black works very well with the yellow accents. So we're going to do a little, that thing sounds like a manual. Sounds like he wants to get going. I'm going to do a little sport mode action here, and we'll see if we can't get this Mustang off the line, right? Let's see. We got him off the line, guys. We got him off the line. Not that he was trying, but he definitely gave me a side eye. He's like, is this car even moving? So obviously this compared to the Mustang obviously has more power, but comparing this back to the Premium, let's get back to reality. You can definitely feel that this has more power than the Premium. However, you know, don't expect, you know, getting into this car and being like, wow, that thing feels really powerful, because it doesn't. You know, it's a 4-cylinder after all, so it doesn't feel all that peppy. But you know, getting up and around town and stuff, it's got more than enough get up and go. So I'm gonna give you guys a few seconds to hear what this thing sounds like, you know, cruising at about 50-ish miles an hour, going over a bridge. So here you go, back into intelligent. So all things considered, it is pretty quiet from the outside world. Yes, there is a little bit of wind noise, but I can definitely think I can feel a difference, or hear a difference, excuse me, from the 2023 to the 2024. I feel like they used a lot more sound deadening for the 2024 model year. I feel like I have to sneeze, bear with me. Yeah, I had to get a little sneeze out there, but I feel like the 2024 model year is definitely quieter on the interior when it comes to the road noise, when it comes to the wind noise and stuff like that. This is what I was talking about on the interior part of the video. when we were going over the gauge cluster. You can see the auto stop start system turned the vehicle off. We're at 0 RPMs, but you can see how long the vehicle has been off for and how much fuel it has saved with the vehicle off with the auto stop start system being off. So that's a pretty cool feature. I personally don't like the auto stop start system, and that's not, you know, specific to this vehicle. That's across every manufacturer. I'm not really a fan of the auto stop start systems as a whole, but I think it's pretty cool that it counts how long it's been off for and how much fuel it has saved. You know, just, I guess that's, you know, makes it a little bit easier to have the auto stop start system, because you can be like, oh, I saved pretty much no fuel with the system turning the vehicle off. But anyways, I think this thing is very nicely equipped. You know, you get the wireless charging pad, and the way that this one is spec'd, I think this is a very nice spec because it's, you know, relatively loaded up. You know what I mean? You get the blind spot, you get the adaptive cruise control as standard, you get the power sunroof. So it is very nicely equipped, considering. I think that Durango sounds pretty good, and it's kind of obnoxiously loud, which is something that I kind of like. But I know some of you guys are not going to like it, but I mean, you guys can see it accelerates up to the speed limit with ease. You know, you don't really have to get it into the RPMs all that much. You know, it'll get up to 50 miles an hour, and you don't even have to go over like 2,500 RPM. So that's nice. You know, I thought one thing that's also nice about the Sport as compared to the Premium is that, yes, obviously, you know, the Sport costs more than the Premium trim level, but with the Sport you get the bigger motor, but you're really not really sacrificing all that much, because you're only getting 1 mile per gallon worse in the city and 1 mile per gallon worse on the highway as compared to the Premium and the base with the 2-liter 4-cylinder. So to me, it's a no-brainer to get the Sport or the Limited, which is, the Limited is like the highest trim level, at least at the moment. I know they are coming out with the Crosstrek Wilderness, which is not out yet at the moment, so the Limited is the highest trim level that you can get. But that sounds like a true dual setup. I don't really like the way that that sounds. But anyways, this thing, you know, it's got the right amount of power. For me, you know, I'm one of those people who I always like more power than less power. So obviously, you know, I'm going to like the bigger motor. I'm going to like the Sport more than I like the Premium. But I mean, that's just personal preference. You know, if you guys don't need all the power that this has, well, you can get the Premium. I believe it has 30 horsepower less and roughly like 30 torque less. I don't know the exact figure. But if you want a Crosstrek and you want the most amount of power, then you're either going to want to get the Sport or you're going to want to get the Limited. Again, that comes down to personal preference. But I kind of just like the way that the Sport looks with the yellow accents. Just personal preference. But we'll do a little mild acceleration here after these cars get going. And, you know, I'll probably give it, let's put it into Sport. I'll give it like 50% throttle. We'll give it 50% throttle. I gotta wait for that Jeep to go, then that Lexus, and then we will be good to go. But let's see. There's like the older Crosstrek, and then this is the newer one. Let's see how it does. 50% throttle. So you can see, you know, it accelerates up to the speed limit with ease. I mean, yeah, it does have to go higher up in the RPMs, but really, you're not really burning all that much fuel because it's a 4-cylinder and it gets really good fuel economy. So I think the fuel economy is great on this. You know, with my personal vehicles, I am used to getting, you know, low 20s, and that's being, you know, on a good day. But I think this gets great fuel economy. It comes with standard all-wheel drive, which is awesome if you guys live in areas where we get snow, like the Northeast, Alaska, Montana, stuff like that. And it also gets great fuel economy, and it's comfortable to drive. So overall, this is a really, really nice vehicle for the price. I think it looks great with the 2024 redesign. You know, I would have never even considered buying a 2023 Crosstrek. I'm just not a fan of the way that those looked. I still probably wouldn't buy a Crosstrek. You know, it's just not a car that I would buy personally, but I can definitely see the appeal to the Crosstrek. You know, I think it looks great. I think it's a great vehicle, economical wise. I think the sound system is decent. I do wish that you could get the Harman Kardon sound system with the Sport, but I don't believe that you can, which is kind of unfortunate. But you know, I think the standard sound system still sounds plenty fine. But before we end out today's video, I do want to do a 0 to 60 test. So let's skip into that now. Pulling up to our 0 to 60 test spot, all we got to do is line up on our line, and then we're just going to floor it as soon as I get stopped in 3, 2, 1, floored. We're in sport mode. 60. And that's the 0 to 60 on a 2024 Subaru Crosstrek Sport. So I would have to say, you know, considering what this is, that was a relatively quick-ish 0 to 60 test time. It was definitely faster than the Crosstrek Premium that I did a video with a month or so ago. And one thing I did is, like, I merged into here and basically you just give it a little bit of gas, and it's relatively quick. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't feel anemic. And that's what's good about the Sport as compared to like the Premium. The Premium feels relatively anemic. And when you put the Sport in sport mode, it's actually like decently quick. I know it's not like the fastest thing that you guys have probably ever driven, but it's got more than enough get up and go as a daily driver for you to feel like it has enough power, if that makes sense. So it's not the fastest, but it will get you up and it'll get you going to the speed that you need to go. It just, you know, it's, again, not the fastest thing that I've ever driven, but again, I think it's got more than enough power for, like, you know, 70% of you guys who are out there looking for a vehicle like this. So if you guys are between the Premium and the Sport and you're like, I feel like I want a little bit more power, then I would highly suggest you get the Sport, because there is a noticeable bump in power between the two. But that's it for today's video. If you guys did enjoy the video, please be sure to give this video a big thumbs up. Please hit that subscribe button. Like I mentioned earlier on in the video, I am on my journey to 100,000 subscribers, and I cannot get there without your help. So please, if you would, give it a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button. But again, that's it for today's video. I will catch you guys in the next one. Peace.